Is this oh, is it working? Is it working? Okay. I think we're live. The delay is really weird. Okay. It is Packer Viking week, and I'm really hoping this is working. Uh the events of the weekend have made it such that I didn't have a chance to get this recorded. And I really want to get it done because it's Packer Viking week. So, sadly, this is usually the week that I get to, for some reason, get 3 to 4 times as much engagement by having Corey on. He must have way more interested friends and family than I do because whenever he's on, I go from like 20 views to like 130. But engagement and algorithms aside, it's time to talk about today's game. And it's going to require a whole lot of, you know, a bunch of me not knowing much about football having opinions about football. And that to me sounds a lot like what people who watch football call armchair quarterbacking. Yeah. So this week I am drinking a copper lager from Three Sheeps Brewing in scenic Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Armchair quarterback. As you can see, it's in the opponent's colors. And before I talk about Kirk Cousins, I need to fuel up. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever had a copper lager by name, but it tastes like a really a very flavorful lager, not like on par with the richness of a stout or something like that. But I'm getting warnings about my bit rate. Not important. Don't have time. This is like for a lager, which is normally a lighter, easier drinking beer. It's flavorful, but not overpowering. I like it. It's a very good, full strength kind of beer. Very enjoyable. Nice work, Three Sheeps Brewing. Oh, I should see if they have anything to say about it on here. Why'd you kick the field goal? Oh, I wonder if that's a reference to anything that's happened in the past of the team that wears green and gold. Okay. Today's game, I'm not going to go super in depth because, frankly, what is the point in trying to discuss what the Vikings are going to do when they do banana stuff all the time? Every week. Like, it would be weirder if one of the teams just ran away with it at this point. As I'm doing this, I'm watching the screen over here. Chaos is happening in the NFC South. The Eagles are currently losing to the Saints. If they get upset and if the Vikings can win today, they'd have the same record. The Eagles would still have the tiebreaker because they beat the Vikings heads up, which would still give them the 1 seed. If they lose and if the Vikings win, then next week becomes interesting because for the first time, I think ever, when the Vikings play the Bears in not week 17 anymore, the last week of the season, as I think they have done every year that I've been alive, it will actually mean something. Years past, either the Vikings have been in the playoffs and had nothing to play against the Bears, or they've been out of the playoffs and had nothing to play for, so the game against the Bears was meaningless. If the Eagles lose today and the Vikings win today, next week will have some impact. The Vikings are still playing for seeding, A, possibly over the Eagles, but B, they also need to stay ahead of the 49ers and the Cowboys, which I believe both of them are still in reach. I'm pretty sure. The Packers, meanwhile, are watching the game where the Commanders are currently getting run out of town by the Browns, because if the Commanders lose, it opens the door for the Lions and the Packers, and there's a third team in there that really wants to try to get in, and I can't remember who it is now. Lots of implications this week. Very exciting week, and this game had the potential to not mean anything for either team. It had the potential to not mean anything for the Packers, but it means something to both teams, which means both teams should be playing hard. The Vikings are going to be playing without their center Garrett Bradbury, who I'm not really sure in the grand scheme of things like where Bradbury ranks as an NFL center. I know he's not one of like the vaunted best of the best, but it's often said of offensive linemen that if you don't hear their name, that's a good thing because they're doing well. I believe the Vikings have both of their tackles back this week. There was a guard that was questionable in practice all week. I can't remember which one. It's important that the Vikings have their offensive line rolling because the Packers can be beat on the ground. They have been beat on the ground, and they really, I think, will need that. I think they need to get Dalvin Cook rolling because I'm not sure the passing game is going to be there for them the whole game. That being said, I do hope Justin Jefferson breaks all the records today because then there will be no asterisk stuff about how many weeks in a season he had to get it done versus, Randy Moss or Megatron, who had 16 weeks to do it. Okay. There was one other. Oh, this is more for the people who really get into football, specifically the Vikings and the Packers. There's been a lot of online heat going around with a certain Packers writer, beat writer, or online reporter guy. I'm not sure if he's officially affiliated or not, breaking down all these stats, trying to prove that the Vikings are frauds, as has been the story of our season. And when I say our season, I mean the Vikings season, even though I'm not, actually. Anyway. We know it has taken a lot of, things going the right way, breaking the right way. It is said that the man who worries suffers things twice because he suffers them when they actually happen and he suffers them in anticipation of them happening. And yeah, that's where I'm at. The Vikings losing today wouldn't surprise me, and I wouldn't be devastated by it. I kind of know they're right on that cusp of beating good teams versus I should say there are 8 teams in the NFL that currently have a better than 500 record against other teams that have a better than 500 record. The Vikings are one of them. And I think they're like third if you rank the teams in their record against 500 teams. So the Vikings are top 3 in winning games against teams with winning records. So it's not like years previous where they beat the bad teams, lost to the good teams. They have losses this year. All 3 of them, well, 2 of them for sure, the Cowboys and the Eagles, are against playoff teams. The third loss to the Lions is a team that could be in the playoffs, depending on the way things break today. So what I fear, rather, is having to endure a week of Packer fans who have been largely quiet this season, all of a sudden coming out of the woodwork to taunt a team for being what they consider to be frauds, the Vikings. It's a silly thing to fear, honestly, and as I vocalize it, it sounds silly. But that is what a lifetime of being a Vikings fan in the land of cheese will do to you. You just, Monday mornings, you dread them, because if the Vikings lost, you're in for so much more harassment than if they won. Especially when it comes to playing against the team in green and gold. Anyway, it should be a good game. I'm excited. Aaron Rodgers hasn't been doing much this year, to be completely honest, but the Vikings defense hasn't really stopped anybody either. So I'm really curious to see which gives. Christian Watson is playing, so the Packers are playing with their full complement of receivers. I think last time I checked, the area that the Vikings are most likely to get burned today, like if you had to, 9 times out of 10, what's going to be the most likely outcome? My money is on Randall Cobb to have a good game, or whoever they line up in the slot, because I think of the Vikings cornerbacks, their slot corner is one of the weaker spots. So good opportunity there for some touches underneath, some catches underneath. I don't know if Justin Jefferson can break the records today. I just think the Packers are going to work really hard to stop him and make the Vikings win in some other way. So hopefully that means Hawkinson shows up. Hopefully that means Thielen shows up. Hopefully that means Dalvin gets rolling. I will not say the Vikings need to establish the run. I've ranted about that enough, but I do hope he's a contributing factor today because I think they're going to need more facets than just F it, throw it to Justin Jefferson. I should say Corey was supposed to be on this episode. It's been a while, but our schedules didn't line up, and that lucky son of a gun is actually at Lambeau today to take in this game. Beautiful January 1st weather in Lambeau. Should be a good game. Corey, if you watch this before you go into the stadium, enjoy yourself. I hear they've stopped serving beer in the stadium. Now they only do ayahuasca trips to try to make Rodgers feel more at home. So if you do that, make sure you have somebody you trust with you. All right? All that being said, thanks for watching. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope this is a healthy and prosperous year for all of you who watch and those of you who don't watch but watch this episode. You also count. Skull feeleth there. That's pretty good. And go Vikings. And now for the clumsy part where I have to end the stream. Oh, it lagged there a little bit. This is my first time going live on the computer setup. The phone is much easier. Happy New Year, everybody!